Good. So, welcome to the second part of our lecture series. Some of you were here last week. So today we are honored and pleased to have Armin Forstner as our guest speaker. Armin is going to tell about his career, about his projects, and after his presentation you can ask him questions, but I think he's very interactive, so I'll pass on to Armin.
Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, thanks for inviting me and the chance to speak to you guys. Jacob asked me to talk actually a lot about myself, which is easy, but I thought I'd also add a little value to this class. Yeah, then we'll do a little exercise together to put you on the right path and introduce you to some things I recently studied and discovered might be quite helpful in your career in the future. So let's start with who am I? As I said, I was born in Vienna, 1978, so 37 years old. This is St. Charles Church in the 4th district in Vienna, if everyone has been there. And I lived like 2 blocks from there. And grew up in Vienna. I did a classic normal school career, went to a high school, and in Austria you can choose between an engineering or a business part. I did the business part. After high school went on to Vienna University of Economics and Business Administration. Did my undergrad there, did a master's degree there, and during my master's degree I started working for a boutique consultant company called Contrast Management Consulting, and part of their consulting operation was a training and event business called the Austrian Controller Institute. So an institute that's around for over 30 years, one of the market leaders in Austria, developing executive education programs in management, accounting, finance, and I was one of the 5 managers who had to run these different seminars. So at a very young age, I was only 23, I was able to deliver already training programs in that sector in Austria. It was quite interesting and challenging for me at that time, but a great opportunity, and I really embraced it. And so there was a lot of designing the program, doing the marketing for the program, so a very holistic approach what the manager had to do in this institute. Then in 2004 I decided to move to London, and I went to London with the premise, okay, I don't have a job, I will find a job here. Looking back, I set myself very narrow parameters. I said, okay, I want to do something kind of creative, kind of media, advertising agency, something in finance, so related to the finance industry, but with a German focus. I thought I need to leverage my German language somehow, because my English wasn't that good, and you still hear my strong German accent. So I thought, okay, to earn the money you need to live in London, I need to leverage a little bit of my skills. And as London is a great city with lots of opportunities, in 2004 it was a booming job market, and of course I found a media and PR agency with asset management clients, huge asset management clients, and a German language focus. So I started there, and I started as a media planner actually. Which after a year was a little bit boring for me already, because it's you basically just buy advertising space for clients, and you just need to do negotiations and do a little bit of strategic planning, but it's a very narrow, low margin business. Good cash flows though. So it's always good to have it in your if you do kind of a media, PR, enterprise, it's always good to have the planning business in there, because you push through a lot of cash through the business. Within that business I started, they had a German office, a publishing business, and the group director very quickly after a year, I think, saw some potential and knew my skills from back in Austria, was running these events and training programs, and said, okay, Armin, come over, help me in Frankfurt with our business there. Then in 2006 I joined Portfolio Verlag, and back then Portfolio Verlag was a very niche, small B2B publisher with his headquarters in Frankfurt. They published 2 magazines, Portfolio Institutionell, so targeted to the institutional investor audience. You guys all know what institutional investors are? Yes, you're in the right class here. And Portfolio International, targeting the IFA market in Germany, and well, the German-speaking countries, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. But there was nothing else. So it was a very classic publisher. Yeah? I think they had like a very rudimentary website, yeah? And no events, no newsletters, nothing. So like really dated, basically. And he brought me in, and the first thing I did was I created a big event for them, an investor award for the institutional investor community. And we had a couple of competitors in the German market, but nobody has done these events before in that market. And coming from London and knowing the industry here in London, we knew that it's a highly saturated market here in London. Yeah? But none of the publishers here who were actually active in the German market. So, for example, the FT had one of the specialist magazines in Germany. Didn't bring these concepts over to the German market. So there was a huge advantage and opportunity there, and we grabbed it and we locked it in. And it's now in its 10 years running, these awards, and one of the I think most of the solid cash flow drivers in the business, even throughout the recession, which I will talk about later. So we started creating things, websites, we started launched newsletters, different sort of events. We did a different type of conferences, small seminars. So we blew up a huge event business. We had 50-60% growth rates every year. And then Lehman happened, and we knew this is not good for us. We were lucky because it happened in the last quarter of 2008, and we still had signed contracts, so people locked in into the business, and some secure money coming into the business until the beginning of next year. But we already knew, okay, this will hit us hard. Why? The magazine is a free subscription, so there's no income from a subscription base. It's only financed by advertising sales, advertising sponsorships at events and stuff like this. And the sponsorships come from asset management companies, and asset management companies calculate the marketing budget as a percentage of the assets under management. So get a hit in your assets under management, you get a hit in our business 6 months later. Yeah? So there's basically in our business we can see a direct correlation between the DAX and our income stream, yeah, which is quite interesting. But gave us a little bit of advantage to forecast what will happen in the business. Basically, first quarter of 2009, we fell off a cliff in the business. Super stressful. We had this high growth rate, hired new people, had to let go of some people, but had to cling on to this business because we knew it will bounce back eventually. Yeah, and you don't want to lose too much knowledge and too much know-how, basically, what you just build up in the last 3 years. Yeah? So we clung on to the thing and came out actually okay at the end of 2009. I think with just a loss on turnover 10%. It was not that bad. What could have been happening. Then in 2009 we thought like, okay, we now know this new normal, and this might be a great opportunity for us. I was still based in London, so I was commuting to Frankfurt quite a lot from our London office, and I said to sort of my partners, well, let's look at the UK market. Can we do something in the UK market? At that time, the exchange rate was almost 1-to-1 to the euro to the pound. Yeah? So with our income in euro as a business, we had a huge advantage to go into the UK market. And then we looked at the market, we saw a niche there, and we decided to launch a magazine in the UK and bring it over basically in the height of the recession, yeah, which was unheard of, and I think made, I don't know, you can tell the story, made a big wave in the community. But don't get me wrong, super tough times, and we have to be very clever about these things. But basically, we brought the whole product range over, and when you look at what the company is doing today, so that's the current picture. So we grew from 2 media brands to 4 different media brands. In Germany, we added another media brand, the one for the wealth management sector. So we divided the whole. When you look at the fund distribution, yes, we looked at the fund distribution channels. So you have the professional regulated ones, then the wholesale unregulated ones, your family offices, and your IFA fund distribution. And we tried to service all of them in Germany. And then in the UK, we only focused on the professional investors. Because in the UK the market is very different. The factor of institutional investors is about I think 10 times more than in Germany. So it's a huge market anyways, and we couldn't compete with the big publishers on the IFA sector here. Yeah? So we thought, okay, we focus on the very professional business, where we are also very good at in Germany and the market leader. And then we build up, the event business and all the businesses around that. And then, I'm sure you guys actually have bought some magazines, so you guys can have a look at this. So these are the magazines and the supplements and stuff like this. So just have a look. And I became partner in that business, so I was equity partner when we started the UK business. This was one of my leverage negotiation skill things. So it was also my business, yeah, and I was running our UK office basically independent from our Frankfurt operation as a startup, which was also a good learning curve for myself because I had to deal with a lot of the implications from tax and HMRC and how to run a startup, how to deal with scarce resources, yeah, as a startup, yeah. Because we just had a set finance plan from the main business, and this drills into you certain disciplines and how to do things. But in about 2 years ago, I decided for myself, well, is this enough? I have my master's degree in business administration, yay, but I think I need to do something else. And I looked around and I started a master's degree in positive leadership and strategy at IE Business School in Madrid. And before I talk to you a little bit about what is positive leadership and the principles behind that, let's do an exercise together. Okay, you guys need to focus. If you know the exercise, just play along, please. If not, focus on what I will show you. It's certain tasks you will have to accomplish, yeah, in a stressful amount of time. Yeah, so I will push you through this exercise, but it's very easy. Yeah, so it's just numbers and letters, and you need to think about things. Yeah? And then we discuss what we discover afterwards. Okay. Okay, let's start. Okay, can everyone read that? Okay, please choose a number between 1 and 10. Everyone has a number. Multiply this number by 9. You have the number in your head. If it's 2 digits, you add those digits to 2 digits together. Yeah? So you have the sum of those 2 digits. You subtract 5. Now you have a number in your head. This number you match with one of the letters in the alphabet. So 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C. You know that. Everyone has a letter of the alphabet in his head? Okay, next one. Think about a European country that starts with that letter. Okay, now take the second letter of this country and think about an animal that starts with that letter. Okay, think about the color of the animal, please.
Pick the second letter. Or...
Second letter, animal, and you think about the color of the animal. Now you take the last letter of the country you chose. You think about an animal again. Now you take the last letter of that animal, you think about the fruit. And now you match the color of the fruit with the animal you just thought of. Okay? Everyone has everything in his head? Okay.
Wait, yes. You know what? I know this exercise.
Okay, so who had all three of those?
Elephant and, yes.
Who had all three?
I had
Who had two of those?
I had two.
I had to.
Okay, and who had only one? Okay, and you guys?
Got lost in the process.
You got lost in the process.
Got lost in the process.
Actually, every number that is
One.
multiplied by, what was the first
Nine.
one?
What, by 9 divided by 9?
9 multiplied by 9 and then plus will be 9.
It's always 9.
It's always 9.
So you
minus
always,
5,
so I set you guys up to fail basically. Yeah. So you thought you make a decision, but you didn't. Yeah. So I set up this exercise to show you that I exactly know where we're coming out, because Denmark, everybody needs to get Denmark basically. Yeah? That's the only thing. The elephant, maybe a bit tricky. Yeah. If you think about emu or something like this, okay. But knowing you guys, probably elephant will be quite dominant, yeah, and will pop up to mind very quickly. Yeah. Then the kangaroo.
Okay, kangaroo, yeah.
Very quickly, yeah. And with the orange, also, you know, it's a very dominant fruit basically. Yeah. So you have orange juice, and then you match it and you get this. Yeah. Why did I show you guys?
Where's the orange? The orange is, I also had orange.
The kangaroo, the last
yeah,
the
orange,
O, and then you
yeah,
think about the
yeah,
fruit
yeah.
and you match it, yeah, and
Yeah.
you get the orange kangaroo. Yeah. I chose this because it's for me very important when you think about entrepreneurs starting a business or working in a company, and you say, okay, we want to go into a new market, yeah, or we want to make a decision of launching a new product, yeah. Sometimes you get caught up in all these exercises here, yeah, that narrow you down, yeah, and you don't let yourself open up and really look at the wider picture to make a strategic decision. Yeah? And it's basically just understanding how your mind works, yeah, and what your mind does. So when you talk about positive leadership, I show you this curve. Yeah. So positive leadership is applied positive psychology, and positive psychology looks at healthy people and what can we do to make them even better. The classic psychology, clinical psychology, looks at mental illnesses, and this is what we have been done for the last 100 years. Sigmund Freud started it in Austria. In the end, they always looked at the sick people. Yeah? And 20 years ago, Martin Seligman, who was back then the head of the American Psychological Society, he said, well, actually, let's flip this and let's look at the healthy people and what makes them happier, yeah? What makes them more engaged, yeah? Etc. And this is just happening, it's a very young science, yeah? So there's a lot of concepts thrown around, and there's now some evidence-based research that underlines actually what's really happening there. So I'll show you another curve. This is how emotions work. So a lot, what we talk about in positive psychology is about positive emotions. And when you look at this curve, the positive emotions are up here. Yeah? So you see they're very subtle. Yeah? So you don't feel them very strongly. They're very, very smooth and build on each other. A negative emotion, high impact, very high impact. So it's a 3-to-1 ratio there. This, when you apply this to a business side, for example, is also loss aversion. Yeah, so you don't want to have this because you're afraid of this high impact. Yeah? You can use loss aversion in marketing. Yeah? My award sponsors only have 10 places left. There's only 5 places left. You will lose out. Yeah, loss aversion. Yeah? So you play with the negative emotion in the marketing there. So we know that, what's the good story about this? Yeah, we know that negative emotion have a high impact, but then fade out very quickly, and positive emotions build on each other. When you apply this now to the business world, you can apply it in every human system, basically. Yeah, in this classroom, in an organization. Yeah, when you're member of a team, when you run a team, when you run an organization. And it's very important to understand that changing the framework and changing the shift in perception with your team, yeah, or with your colleagues makes a huge difference. So one example, I don't know if you guys are working already and had performance appraisals. What normally happens in performance appraisals, you go to the good things that happened in that year, and you go to the bad things. Yeah, what are your weaknesses? Yeah, so where do we need to improve? And I had to learn it myself that I was always focusing on the weaknesses of the people who worked for me. Yeah, so you're actually great in communicating and project management, but you're really, really bad in budgeting. Yeah? So you need a budget training. But what happens actually is that you focus on this negative thing, and the person will never be good at budgeting. So she will just be more frustrated because she will not understand even after the budgeting course. So you drag her down this negative spiral. So when you come in from a positive leadership perspective, yeah, you disregard the weaknesses. Yeah? You say, actually, we look at your strength, and we build on your strength. And if there's a very apparent weakness, yeah, we don't call it weakness, we call it a challenge, yeah, and put it into the future. Yeah? So we say, okay, this challenge, yeah, how can we improve on this challenge to be better in the future together? And suddenly you get a shift in perception in the people, yeah, and you don't get a negative emotion, you get a positive emotion. But we know positive emotions are very subtle, so it doesn't have this high impact. That a negative emotion, when I tell you, oh, this is your weakness, drags you down very quickly. So you see, this is why this curve is very important. And talking about entrepreneurship, so there are many tools we use in positive leadership, but there's one tool, if you guys think about starting a business at one point, or you're in an organization where you are asked to run a brainstorm or develop a new product, or when you think about your dissertation, yeah, and you think about the ideas in this dissertation, there's one tool I wanted to show you tonight, and that's design thinking and ideation. I don't know if you have heard of that. It's a very straightforward, strict course set that forces you to rephrase and flip constantly your idea. Yeah? So what happens with an idea normally? So you come in into a brainstorm, you probably have thought about the idea before, and you fight for this idea. You fall in love with it. Your idea is the best. Yeah? But actually the better way to do it is to step back and say, it's one of many ideas. I treat it more like a hypothesis in science, yeah? And say, okay, actually this idea can fail. And trust me, when you have been in business for 20 years, then you sit in these meetings, yeah, and you have these people fighting about these ideas. And they don't treat this as a hypothesis anymore. It's about power games in the company, and there's so much other stuff in there, yeah, you don't even want to know. And in the end, the outcome is not great. Yeah? So this is a framework, and if you're interested, I can talk a little bit more about this. But in the end, it forces you to do a lot of research in the beginning, think about actually the scope of your project, then only do the actual brainstorm only in this stage, and then design a low fidelity prototype, yeah, which you can change very quickly, adapt very quickly, get a lot of stakeholders involved before you go into like a full high fidelity product. And this is amazing when you see, I've done a couple of projects with this thing. Yeah, we've done one with they designed an app, yeah, and so we designed a low fidelity app in the sense of we just had paper, yeah, and so you had to click basically on the paper and you flip the pages, yeah, and this was our low fidelity thing. And before we even went to the programmers, yeah, we saw how the thing actually should work and how it might interact. Yeah? You can also do wireframes, for example, for that. Yeah? So that's a great concept to start new ideas and new projects. Some takeaways from that. So generate many ideas, don't fall in love with them, filter them with stakeholders and external, internal partners. Choose one, and then when you start your business and when you start a new product, be very open with everything and try to fail quickly. Yeah? And I think that's in every entrepreneur class, this is what people say very quickly. You guys know the numbers in London, yeah, from the tech startups. It's about 90% of the businesses fail. Yeah, so you probably fail. And very condescending about my business that this might happen too. Yeah, so you try to be very diverse. Yeah, and this leads me to the end basically. This is my new business, Serrano 99 Management Consulting. So from publishing and media, I migrated now more in the management consulting area. I'm together with a couple of partners, and we do projects at the moment we do a large project for a large Eastern European low-cost airline who just IPO'd in London. We do projects for them. We do one for the Irish Defence Forces, and there we help them with vision, strategy, mission statements, leadership skills, but all from a positive psychology, positive leadership perspective. So we try to emphasize positivity and try to reframe certain challenges in organizations to get a better outcome, a greater buy-in within the employees, higher employment engagement, higher performances, and to really increase their output and the bottom line basically in the end. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, and yeah, please ask any questions. Sorry, I talked like that.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
How old is your new business?
3 weeks. We had so we incorporated on the 16th of October, but we had our first project already beginning of October, so we incorporated afterwards. We have partners in different locations, yes, in Ireland, Abu Dhabi, and here in the UK, and we had it's a lot about tax and the best tax laws and how to run the business over various locations and with various tax residencies. So it took a bit longer to incorporate, but we were building up the business plan, business case for the last 4 months basically. Until this point we incorporate. We're still at the moment in a branding process. Yeah, so we're doing projects, we're doing the branding. It's a lot of work, but it's very exciting, and I'm very passionate about this business now because it's compared to these magazines. I think I'm quite good in running a business, but the topic of pension schemes and investments wasn't really mine. Let's put it like this. Yeah, and with this, pretty much I have a master's now in positive psychology. Yes, I'm pretty much an expert in that field, and there's hardly anyone out there who does these things what we are doing, and this mindfulness and applied positive psychology in business. It's a very new but I think a great opportunity at the moment because it's a big wave coming in that direction. And I think you guys heard about mindfulness, and if you're not doing a mindfulness practice, I highly recommend it. Start it now. It's a great skill to have, and it will just help you more with your attention. You will be a lot calmer, and it will definitely influence your business life in the future. And there's big organizations like LinkedIn or Google who now apply actually mindfulness in their strategy, in their business strategy, and start doing these things. So it will filter down to the finance sector in 10 years, basically.
So we can wait.
You can wait a little bit.
We can make some money.
Start
in
the
meantime.
process. Yeah,
I
make the money and later.
And then we hire you to do the mindfulness.
Exactly.
So this is a different business model from the publishing business, right?
Well,
where you had products with advertising. Here, this is a fee business, right?
It's a fee business, but one part of the business. So next year we will also launch a little magazine with the thing because it's publishing is in my heart a little bit. So we will do a small digital publication there, basically to promote the business a bit and get out the case studies, but in a very professional, high-end way. And we are developing a couple of training programs, which will be public and in-house training programs. So it's basically mindfulness-based strategic attention training, which will give like C-level executive senior management greater awareness, exactly what I just did the exercise with you guys, so that they can step back when they make really big strategic decisions and don't run on autopilot and catch certain traits which are just programmed in your DNA, and you need to be aware of what's happening with you, with your body. You know, I can talk for hours now about what your mind and body does, and but it's if you have time, read a couple of these books and there's free mindfulness stress reduction. They are called mindfulness stress reduction courses, 8-week course for free on some university websites. You will find it online. Do them. It's a great skill to have, definitely. Yeah.
So you're going back to your expertise in publishing, in events, in running training courses, and you add it on to a new idea.
Exactly, and I added on to a new idea, added on to a topic I'm passionate about, and I can see a greater purpose for myself, which is always important. Then I think in a certain stage when you reach your career, you don't, I had not a chance to go back to, I had an offer of another big publisher running the European business, and I was like, yeah, but I don't really want to do that. Rather do something that's more engaged, not just pressured by targets. Can decide my own fate. Yeah. But this is me. Yeah. So yeah.
You said that as an employer you need to focus on the positive skills of your employees.
Yeah.
But don't you agree that it depends on people? For example, if you take me, if my teacher focuses on my weakest points, if he swears on me, I will do my best because it will rage me and I will try to improve it. If he says that, oh, he's a very good student, I will relax within a short time.
No, it's not about saying that you're good at something, you need to relax. It's about acknowledging that you have certain...
Yeah, if you acknowledge, oh, he's very good at accounting, for example.
Yeah.
He does all the best in wealth management.
Mm-hmm.
But I will relax in a short period.
Yeah, but I need to think now, how is this for a student? Yeah? Because you need to fulfill certain exactly, because you need to fulfill certain criteria if you want or not. Yeah, so you don't have a choice sometimes. Yeah, I remember my masters, and there are certain classes you just need to do. Yeah, if you're good or bad in it, nobody cares. Yeah, but for example, I chose classes where I was passionate about. Then at the end of my masters, where I chose my majors. Yeah, or I wrote my dissertation paper. Yeah, and there. The professor told me, you're good at it, yeah, but I don't even needed to hear it because I already knew that I'm good at it, yeah, and I was passionate about it, I really want to do it, yeah. So I think, I wouldn't have relaxed anyways because it was easy for me to do and I was interested in doing it. So I would have seen it differently, yeah. I wouldn't have relaxed because he told me I'm great. Yeah, why would I relax? But I like doing it. Yeah, so why would I just let it slide? Yeah, you have your own passion then, and you see your own passion.
Mm-hmm. Maybe in a business, what you mean is put the right person at the right place. Use it.
That's definitely what it is as well. Yeah, and from a business perspective, for example, we don't talk about the work-life balance because everything is your life. Yeah, so. You need to be very condescending about that your work environment is also a very healthy environment. You need to think about the well-being and your own well-being. You need to make sure that you go through the day not too stressed. Yeah, and a lot of my friends who are in my age and one of them is a CMO from a big consultant company, and the other one is a partner in a huge media agency. But they are so in this treadmill. Yeah, and very unhappy, yeah, very successful but unhappy in the end, yeah. And you can do it for a certain amount of time, yeah, but it just builds up in your system over time, and then at one stage you break, yeah? And you need to be very careful about it, and you need to have a wider understanding about your body and your mind. And what I learned in the last 2 years is definitely something what would have been great for me to already know how my mind works, how my body works, how I'm influenced in decision making when I was 20, yeah, before I started my career. Yeah, it would have been very beneficial for myself. And I would have made probably different decisions, yeah, and I wouldn't have allowed certain things to affect me and to push me in a certain direction. Yeah? So that's why I'm a big advocate of learning how your mind works, how your body and your mind works together, and what does this mean translated into a workplace environment.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a background in publishing in Sweden.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is in Germany or in UK, but it's in Sweden. It's very it's hard. The business is hard right now. And I just wanted to hear your general view, what you think about the future about that.
Well, what's happening in publishing is a very interesting trend. It's an industry that's there for decades and decades and it's never changed. And suddenly we had this internet boom and digital publishing and a lot of content produced by other sources. So the main challenge is how to maintain your independent journalism if you're a classic publisher. If you're not a classic publisher, you don't care about independent journalism. You do native advertising basically or third-party content and just push it out to platforms. You have different approaches. So the classic publishers are very, because their legacy is all this independent journalism, we need to separate all these things. Yeah? But this is not how the world works anymore. So big companies, big corporates come to the publishers to say, okay, so what you see, the supplement with the fingers, these are sponsored supplements. Yeah? We only do them if we get the cash, yeah, and they're high margin products. Yeah? I get an 80% margin on this thing. Yeah? But it appears as we as the publisher produce this, yeah. So you give kind of this. People know that it's sponsored, but it's a really tough thing to do, yeah. But I wanted to say that corporates really ask for that, yeah. And if you don't offer it, they don't give you the money, yeah. Basically, that's it. Yeah? So they don't do the classic display advertising. It's basically there. And what happens is that a lot of the publishers converge now into more like a marketing advertising agency style. Yeah? So they say, we as the publisher, we know our readership. Yeah? And if you want the readership, come to us and we make the correct product for you and slot it in the right way. If it's an event or a round table or a supplement or a newsletter or a digital card or whatever, we do this for you. So they take away business actually from big agencies. And that's one of the trends that's happening. But it's a low margin business publishing, yeah, so don't get me wrong. It can produce very stable cash flows if you have a good title with a good subscription base and low cost in producing it. Then it's a very nice business to be in, and it just produces you a very stable cash flow, and you get a good interaction with a lot of people. Yeah, so the whole platform aspect is very important. Yeah? And that's what, for example, in this business we very much leveraged. Yeah? So we leveraged all the events, yeah, and the access to these people, yeah, was worth a lot for our advertisers. So, for example, at these awards I talked about, yeah, we had in Germany 200 people at these awards, of which was 100 investors and 10 sponsors. And one sponsor had to pay 40,000 euros to be there. Yeah? So, which is quite a lot amount of money to meet basically 100 people. Yeah, so when you divide it down. Yeah, but it's worth for them to be there and to have the access to these people. Yeah? And then as a business you can leverage this, yeah? Very nicely. Yeah, they wouldn't pay for the advertising space though, so that's.
I think you wanted to show us a video. Can you want to show us?
Yeah, if you want to see it, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's
Show us the
a
video.
video from one of the awards we did here in London, and where Jacob very kindly was one of the judges actually. Okay, that's good. Here we go. So this was an event at the Royal Exchange in Bern.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vincent Bradley.
It's been a lovely evening. Clearly, winning an award is just an unexpected and a marvellous accolade. So the evening's gone really. The forum, the venue is absolutely superb.
Stephen's going very well. Last year we got to highly commended. We weren't expecting to win this award tonight, but we're very proud to do so. And it's a testament to the hard work that's been done by the trustee, our in-house team, on behalf of the members of the scheme. And yeah, it's very exciting to win this, and we're very pleased. It's not so much celebrating really. It's just nice to know that the industry appreciates and respects the effort.
Were we expecting to win the award? No, not really. I thought we'd had a really interesting year, and I think we've done some really interesting things that made it worth entering. But you never know with these things, and you know, I mean, there are some corporates who do amazing things every day, and we've had a very good year, and you know, it's a really nice way to finish it off.
It's going very well. Obviously, very pleased to win the award. Very prestigious award, and it's a fantastic venue.
I'd say of all the awards, this is actually very well attended. I think it's fabulous to one only full sponsors at an event of this kind. I think it gives us excellent exposure into the marketplace and continues to be every bit as vibrant as enjoyable as it was when I first joined the industry many years ago.
As Luton, we're very happy to sponsor the event. I think the quality of the submission process and the quality of the judging process gives the overall feel of quality to the event, and that's the reason really why Newton have wanted to be involved with this event.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Why don't fall in love?
Sorry?
You mean in general don't fall in love?
No, with the idea.
No,
Fall in
please,
love
don't
with
put
the
it.
idea.
Don't,
Yeah.
It's so funny. I showed this to one of my partners. He exactly said exactly what you said. Yeah. It's about ideas. Yeah, so don't fall in love with the idea.
I thought they are separated, like generate many.
Whatever you want to apply these takeaways to, then please go ahead. Might also, help you with your life choices.
Last question, what are your plans? So you're building this new firm, you spoke about setting it up and the right
Yeah, we are.
structure, and so on. Perhaps you can talk about the structure, and what are your plans? What do you want to do? You want
So
to
the-
sell this in a few years? You want to do it big, or is this a lifestyle business? Is this a real business that you want to grow? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to do an IPO?
So the reason why we're doing the magazine, because this is the consulting. It will always depend basically on the partners and the people who run the teams. And you can grow this, and this is one of our plans to get more people involved. But you need a very specific skill set. And there's not that many people out there, so we probably need to grow them in house. But for example, with the training and with the publishing business, which are the two other parts. You can really split them and then maybe sell it if somebody's interested in a couple of years' time, or put it in a separate business and let somebody else run the business. Yeah, so that's. But at the moment, it's such a new topic and exciting topic that we actually don't know what's happening. Yeah, so I made a budget and it's like, let's see what's happening. Yeah, I don't really know. But we're quite lucky that we already have a couple of projects lined up for now, and which guarantees nice cash flow, good references, and that's the important bit for a consulting business. And the rest we will see. Yeah. You never know. This why plan for the future? It's in the now. That's important.
Interesting. Any other questions? So thank you very much, Armin.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for having us. Thank you very much. Thank you. So.